Air dribbling in Rocket League is one of the oldest mechanics in the game, yet has always been a very useful mechanic in multiple situations and can really help teach you the foundations of car control for almost every other mechanic in the game. In today's video, we'll be going over how to perform an air dribble as well as how to train this mechanic effectively and efficiently using a certain training technique to optimize your time so you aren't spending hours and hours in free play uncertain about how to execute this skill. But before we get into it, just a reminder, I do stream over at Twitch. Be sure to come chuck a follow and say hi, and feel free to ask me any more questions over there. Now, the first part we're going to cover is how to actually pull off the air dribble. Now, the first part, the setup. This is the initial drive towards the wall, and you want to be matching the same speed as the ball, but having slight separation. I always like having a trail off the ball because that means we're going at a good speed and will give me the best height. Now, if you were setting this shot up from a bounce, you are going to want to wait for the ball to have upwards momentum, as this will help keep the ball close when going for your second touch. If you make contact with the ball on its way down, it will be difficult to get a follow-up touch and you will use a lot of boost. Setting up the air dribble from the ground is very similar to the bounce setup, as you want to have the ball on top of your car, double jump while tilting your car backwards, and then you can follow it from there. Now for the second part of the air dribble, the touch. You want to make this touch after the ball has gone over the curb of the wall. Now there are two ways you can approach the jump off the wall. The first is to jump directly after contact has been made to maintain speed with the ball. This will allow you to close the gap quicker and make adjustments to beat out opponents. You also keep momentum, which makes the air dribble easier, at least in my experience. The second option is to pause on the wall for a moment to line it up better, as some people find this easier to start with. Just make sure you initially boost towards the ball immediately to gain speed. You will then have to slow down to the speed of the ball so you can keep it close when getting that first touch. Making sure the ball is getting enough height already, leaning towards the goal will make the next step easier. Now part 3 of the air dribble, the carry. This is where you can make the rest of your job very easy depending on the first touch you got when you were trying to jump off the wall. Make sure you feather your boost, and you want to maintain consistent touches on the underside of the ball as highlighted here. Just be mindful to not boost into the ball, as you're wanting to keep it close to you the entire time. Now the last part is all about practice and consistent reps. There is no easy way to perfect this other than put in the hours required to learn. But the idea of this video is to show you a great way to train this mechanic effectively without having to sit in free play and do the same setup for hours on end. So let's get into how to train air dribbles. Now just before we start, I do want to mention that this strategy worked well for me, and as everyone is different, try adjusting the routine yourself and changing up the packs in order to keep it fresh. The idea of this method is to maintain a flow state. Think of it as a scale, whereas if something is difficult, it must be as equally as fun in order to maintain this flow state. If you're keeping the same enjoyment of learning the mechanic as well as making it difficult enough, you will improve at a much faster rate. If things become too difficult and you're not enjoying it as much, you will start to become tilted and will just not improve at the same rate. Alright, now first off, we are going to do some foundations to try and best track our improvement. To do this, I've chosen 2 workshop maps for PC users as well as 2 training maps that users that don't have access to workshop maps can use. If you're able to access the workshop maps, we are going to first be using the air dribble challenge map for 3 to 5 attempts only, and make sure you track your results. This will test your overall control whilst dribbling. If you don't have workshop maps, you can use the following training pack, which allows you to get out of the map and practice in the same way. Just make sure you go to training, free play, and choose the drop shot map before you load into the custom training. Next is to load the air dribble hoops map and try to get as far as you can within 5 minutes. Remember to do the course correctly, as we're trying to get accurate results. Again, if you don't have the workshop maps, you can use the following training pack for 5 minutes and to track your progress. Now let's actually get into the training aspect of this routine. First off, we have the iOS Air Dribble pack. This pack is perfect for all kinds of easy setups. Take your time and try and score a clean air dribble in each shot. Depending on your skill level will also depend on the difficulty of the shot you're able to go for. Now once you've completed all shots, it's time to take a break for 2 to 3 minutes to help reset your mind. Go to free play for a bit. take a walk to the kitchen and aimlessly check the fridge for food is what I like to do. Or whatever it takes to do a mental reset and keep you engaged. Once you've come back, repeat the training pack in the same way. Once you've completed this pack twice, it's time to move on to the next one. Time for the Seatbelt Air Dribble Mastery Pack. This pack is more designed around the difficult setups and situations which can really get you to understand your car control. This can be hard at the start, but will overall improve your ability to air dribble in most situations. Be sure to take your time with this pack and be a bit lenient with yourself with the air dribbles that you hit at the start. Once you've completed it once, take another break as we did before, then when you come back, complete the pack once more. Now for the last part, hop into free play and spend 5 to 10 minutes working specifically on setups for all different places on the field. The goal here is to be able to get into an air dribble at any time, whether it's from a dribble, from the wall, or on the bounce. An optional part you can do is take this a step further and go into a casual 1v1 or 2v2 match to gain some practice in-game, only trying to go for air dribbles, as in-game and free play can be very different. One last thing, all I want to say is these shots will get easier over time, so make sure you're constantly upgrading your standard of what you consider a good shot, and only go to the next shot once you've hit one you're happy with. And that's it. This training routine in my experience is one of the best ways to learn a new mechanic, and should take you roughly an hour to complete once you've got used to it. If you would like, you can switch out some of the training packs I've mentioned for your own if you're having trouble with them. Just make sure they cover a wide variety of shots to get the most experience. This training routine has helped me master countless different mechanics, as I tend to get bored sitting in free play for hours and doing the same shot and the same setup over and over again. And you can even repeat it daily or multiple times in a day if you're able to. If you'd like me to cover any more training routines and other mechanics for my next video, be sure to comment down below, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next video.